Speaking of strategies, Pakistan Army Chief Asim Munir is pursuing a new one, a reset with the United States. He's arrived in Washington, D.C. in his first trip to the U.S. after taking office. And what's on the agenda? Today he met the U.S. Defense Secretary, Lloyd Austin. No cameras, no sound bites, just a statement from the Pentagon. It's a masterclass on how to withhold information. The U.S. statement mentions two things. One, Austin hosted Asim Munir, and two, they discussed regional issues and defense cooperation. ChatGPT could have done a better job. Asim Munir has more meetings lined up. He is expected to meet Secretary of State Antony Blinken, also National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan. There is also talk of meetings with U.S. lawmakers. Now, General Munir has a tough job here. His mission is to hit the reset button, to take the U.S.-Pakistan relationship back to how it was. But for that, he needs common ground, something to cooperate on. But after Afghanistan, there is very little. The U.S. is more invested in its relationship with India. On the flip side, Pakistan needs a lot more from the U.S. For starters, they need trade. America is Pakistan's largest export market. They sell goods worth $5 billion every year. Then there is aid. In 20 years, the U.S. has given Pakistan close to $32 billion. A lot of it, is military aid, $32 billion. And finally, help at the International Monetary Fund. The U.S. has a sizable voting share at the IMF, around 16%. So without their support, Pakistan cannot get more bailouts. Hence, Asim Munir's visit. Normally, the Prime Minister would do something like this. The Prime Minister would visit. But this is Pakistan. If serious business has to be done, it has to be the Army Chief. So that's the financial side of it. Now let's come to the security aspect. General Munir will have two issues on his agenda. The first is the TTP, the Tehreek-e-Taliban Pakistan, or the Pakistani Taliban, TTP. They have been on a rampage recently. The TTP and its offshoots have been mounting multiple daring attacks. This week they attacked an army base. More than 20 soldiers were killed. So General Munir will try to convince the US of the TTP threat, maybe press for more military aid, or to force Washington to put pressure on Kabul. After all, the Afghan Taliban has links with the TTP. It's a tall ask, though, because the US is slowly doing business with Kabul. In the month of August, they held their first official talks. In fact, a recent US report borderline praised them, praised the Taliban. It said the Al-Qaeda and Islamic State have weakened. How? Thanks to the Taliban's counter-terror operations. There's three words I never imagined saying together: Taliban's counter-terror operations. Either way, the question is, will Washington rock that boat? For a strategic ally, maybe, but for Pakistan, highly unlikely. Which brings us to the second issue. Pakistan is deporting 1.7 million Afghan refugees. Asim Munir recently defended that decision. He said the Afghans are causing financial losses to them. But here's the problem. Many of those refugees are awaiting American travel documents, some 25,000 of them. They helped the US military in Afghanistan, so Washington had promised to bring them over. But if they return to Afghanistan, forget that. The Taliban could hunt them down. So I guess Pakistan has some leverage. But frankly, it won't be enough. General Munir is in the US at a very tough time. There are two wars going on, both funded by the United States. And in the South China Sea, there is another one that's brewing. The president himself is facing an impeachment inquiry, and the US public is growing tired of foreign wars. So forget a reset. General Munir's biggest challenge is to get America's attention.